Bisu fans, gather round for the story of Bisu versus Shiny McShinerson. Okay, his name's just Shine, but I would like to call him Shiny McShinerson at least one point during this commentary. Okay, Shine is a Zerg, even though there's another Shine that just retired who was a Terran player. This Shine, even though he's equally as goofy looking, he is a different race. And Bisu is very good versus Zerg, but recently Protosses have just been losing left and right versus Zerg. I'll talk about that here in a second. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Eye of the Storm is the map. And this map is pretty new, so I don't think the community has completely agreed upon Eye of the Storm as the name of the map yet. I've seen Eye of the Typhoon, Eye of the Hurricane. It's hard to get everyone to agree on English translations of stuff. But anyways, we'll figure that out soon enough. Down at the 5 o'clock position in red is Bisu. Over at the 8 o'clock in yellow is Shiny McShinerson. I'm going to start putting tally marks on a piece of paper how many times I call him Shiny McShinerson in the game. Okay, let's get into it. I know a lot of people have noticed this. I have too. Watching Protoss versus Zerg games recently has been very, 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 very lopsided. I mean, Zergs have just got it down. They've got that matchup down. That's a great picture, Bisu. No, you don't look homosexual in that picture at all, especially with the pink lines around your head. But getting back to my point, yes, Protoss not doing too great. Even though we got some Protoss favored maps in this OSL, I still think it's going to be very tough for Protoss to fight off Zerg without some kind of revolutionary strategy. So hopefully the revolutionist, Bisu, can come up with something to fight off the modern Zerg strategy. Because Zergs, they know when to expand, they know how many types of each unit to come out. They don't waste anything. They have lurkers all over the map, and they get out tons of troops when you least expect it, especially with High Templar sniping. That has been the biggest problem, I think, that Protosses have been having to deal with recently, is just getting all the High Templar sniped. Because you can talk about imbalance all you want of Storm, but Protoss really need Storm to fight off a swarming Zerg army. And without that, Protoss has just been failing left and right. And even though I do think Bisu is certainly capable of taking down Shine, he's just a much higher caliber level of player, I still think he's probably going to have troubles against Shine here today. And one of the strategies that a lot of people seem to be agreeing on is that Protoss should start going for Dark Templar. You see, Bisu lost his pro, but he managed to put down one pylon, which I don't think was actually the smartest idea in the world for him. He's going to delay his cannons for quite a while. Even though this is a very large map, his cannons will probably warp in just in time because he wasted 100 minerals on that pylon. He's probably going to cancel that. He might cancel the pylon. Yes, he does. Thankfully for him, he's going to have those minerals to put down another cannon coming up. But yes, most people seem to be agreeing on Dark Archon to protect the High Templar, because Zergs recently have been going for Mutalisks. Lots and lots of Mutalisks, doing a nice tech switch, getting a bunch of Mutalisks out and just sniping High Templars left and right. The micro has gotten to the point that it's very difficult for Protoss to deal with this. They need some way of defending the Templar, and just storming with the Templar and getting Archons out, that's just not the right answer, I think. That's just wasting Templar storms. It's wasting Templar to morph them into Archons when you don't need that. When you know you're going to have to fight off against a huge Hydra army, you want to have storms and lots of them. But I've seen Jangbi go for this kind of Dark Archon strategy recently, and he almost pulled it off. He ended up losing, which every other Protoss has done recently. I've watched so many Protoss versus Zerg games recently, and Protoss seem to have lost every single one. So yeah, definitely in need of a change of strategy. Something along the lines of the Bisu build, like this build right here, getting out the Forge Fast Expand. Well, I shouldn't say Bisu build revolutionized the Protoss versus Zerg, but the Forge Fast Expand definitely did, and Protoss needs something along those lines to fight off Zerg. We'll see. Bisu will be the one to come up with that. He did a very good job fending off the Zerglings with not many cannons. I think he had one cannon, and I think that if Shine had run by that one cannon, he might have been able to take it down, because Bisu, he only had one probe around that cannon by the time that Shine had his Zerglings in. So Shine might be playing a bit conservatively, but yeah, he's going for his third base already. Zergs have really got macro going these days, and that's one of the biggest problems that Protoss have to deal with. They need to find a way to get economic harassment, lots of it, without getting their shuttles scourged and just everything like that. Protoss need to come up with an answer. I'm not going to be the one to say that I know what that answer is either, even though I was talking about Dark Archons seem to be the best answer for getting a Maelstrom of something, and it will give you a heads up on Defiler tech as well, because you'll be able to feed back the Defilers. I don't know if that's the correct answer, but thankfully these guys practice 13 hours a day, so I'm sure they'll come up with something. Stargate and the Citadel of Adun coming up for Bisu. We could be seeing a nice little Bisu build from Bisu getting Dark Templar out to cause all kinds of problems, while the Corsairs take care of the Overlords, keep the detection away from the bases. But Shine is in full macro mode. He's getting down a bunch of hatcheries, and he's probably going to switch to a huge Hydra army, and eventually probably some Lurker contain. That's, yeah, what I've noticed about Zergs recently is they've all been going for pretty much the same build. It's been I mean, not much has changed here on all of the losses I've seen from Protosses. Just a bunch of Lurkers for the contain, some Scourge to take care of the observers, and then eventually just so many Hydras that it just overwhelms the Protoss, and you think to yourself, how could they get that many Hydras off of 3 bases? But it happens, and the Protoss just can't deal with it because their High Templar are not there for the storm, because they're getting picked off. Corsair takes down one Overlord. That's an early advantage for Bisu. Going to stop some of that supply. But a lot of hatcheries coming down for Shine. He's going very, very heavy on these hatcheries. That means he's going to do a big push on Bisu's front. And the big problem, well, one of the big problems, I've talked about a lot of problems with Protosses have been facing recently, is getting the third base and holding it. I mean, Protoss can throw down that third base, they can throw down a bunch of cannons, but they just can't seem to hold that third base, let alone go for a fourth versus Zerg recently. Shine's trying to get some nice micro here. He does fend off the couple of Zealots from Bisu. And Bisu might lose his Corsair if he can't get back to the cannon in time. Another couple of Scourge in to take out some more Corsairs from Bisu. But if you get about 12 Corsairs together, it doesn't matter how many Scourge you have, because they're all going to melt. Oh, Bisu doing some nice micro, getting back to the cannon, so he's not going to lose that Corsair. The Forge spinning for Bisu. You were waiting for it, weren't you? Yes, you were. But, yes, Shiny McShinerson. Oh, he has to deal with a Dark Templar now, but he does know about that Dark Templar. Might not have been smart of Bisu to reveal that just yet. He should have probably snuck out with it. Try to get into one of the bases and kill all the drones, because Dark Templar one-shot drones. It takes one shot to kill a drone. And that's big trouble, because when your units go down in one shot, it means the minimap does not tell you about it. It doesn't have a big red square saying, our units are under attack. It just doesn't work, because it's just one shot. So that has been the doom for many Zergs in the past, but I just haven't really seen that recently. Zerg have been very smart about SimCity, aka a building placement, and having overlords at each base to deal with that kind of thing. Okay, looks like a bunch of Scourge in here. Some very nice building placement, as I was saying. But, yeah, one Archon coming out here for Bisu, actually. I think this is his plan to take his third base. He's coming out with a ton of Corsairs. He's getting a huge Corsair army. And once he reveals this, though, I think Shine will be prepared. He's going to have a bunch of Scourge coming up to fight off that Corsair army. Some Mutilas coming in, but these Mutilas might be completely ripped into by Bisu. If Bisu comes in time to spot that, he's going to be able to melt all of these a Scourge, I think. If Bisu micros correctly, I think he can take down the Scourge. Yes, he does, but he loses one Corsair, so that micro didn't quite work out for him in the long run. And here is the modern Zerg play. A bunch of mutas coming out, forcing Bisu to throw down cannons, waste some minerals on that instead of devoting that to cannons at his third base coming up. But yeah, he's got to use those Corsairs. I think the Corsair and the Archon combo here could really rip through these Mutalisks, but he's going to have to get lucky and find those Mutalisks. I think the Mutalisks are there to pick off High Templar, but Bisu hasn't really been committing to that kind of play. Maybe a little bit scared to go for High Templar like that, losing a couple Corsairs. He had an Archon right there, so he probably could have taken that out.